Dedication. This book is dedicated to all the people who picked up a book and discovered something new about themselves between its pages. Forward. Starting this book feels a lot like starting a dating profile. What parts of myself am I supposed to dilute down well enough for you, the reader, to decide whether or not I'm worth your time? Anyone who knows me knows I don't have much patience for filters, and starting things is just about as awkward as finishing them. I thrive somewhere in the middle. My most successful relationships have been where I've negotiated to jump in feet first and never look back. Are we at that point yet? By the time you read this, I'll have spent the better part of my writing journey screaming, crying, and throwing up about the fact that someone is actually going to receive this and, in all likelihood, read it. I mean, that is the goal of publishing. No matter how many times I try to tell myself I can just press enter and no one even has to know it exists. Hell, by the time you read this, I'll probably have rewritten this little letter 1,000,000 times, and one of my poor friends will have had to talk me down from a ledge with each version. I think part of what's keeping me from really embracing the process as much as one can embrace the agony that is publishing is the fear of being called an educator. This is distinctly hilarious because I spent a long time wanting to be a sex therapist to better educate people on some of the very subjects here in this book. I'm not entirely sure when that changed, or when the reality of the responsibility of that word became something akin to a 10-ton weight of anxiety and paralysis, but here we are, and here it is. When I told a friend of mine, Becca, I didn't want to be seen as an educator, she said she didn't see why I couldn't be one. And when I expressed I'd like to function more as a facilitator of exploration, her response was an immediate, "Ma'am, that means education." That same sentiment was repeated by just about every person I'd brought this conundrum to. I've been reminded through this journey that education is a broad field and can cover a variety of methods to facilitate awareness and promote the confidence to further research. My day job is in education, so I don't know why the idea of being labeled as an educator is so terrifying, but it is. It comes with a responsibility that I don't know that I have the spoons or energy, Google spoon theory, or the stamina to spare. In the meantime, whether or not I ever choose to call myself that, whether or not you will see me as a such person, or whether others prescribe that title to me, I'll keep trying to remind myself why I wanted to write this book in the first place. And instead of freaking out and sitting in utter despair, I'd like to invite you to think of me as your substitute Thea, the auntie who makes dumb mistakes and probably has a spending problem, but is willing to be called out for it. Or maybe the best friend, who will do what they can to encourage you to stand up for yourself and keep your precious little bean body and soul safe. Maybe even the older, crazy plant neighbor you sit and drink wine with outside the patio of your apartment, who will hopefully help you avoid as many bumps in the roads with anecdotes of their own pitfalls. I might even share a new face or two of people who spend their time educating with more poise and grace than I ever could. And if you don't learn anything, then I hope you're at least entertained. I'm sorry if you don't like puns, though, because that's about all I got. Shitty puns, a kinky brain, and a big mouth. At the end of the day, I am just a neurodivergent human who has spent my adult life in BDSM and kink spaces, who likes collecting resources the way some birds collect shiny objects, and hopes to share some of them with y'all. At the end of the day, I just want people to be able to read what they want to read and enjoy what they enjoy. So, Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Go forth and be kinky. Warmest wishes, Ash.